Hello and welcome to Leeroy Gaming, where today I am gonna continue my play of The Life and Suffering of Sir Brante. Now, this is going to be a continuation of my first impression video where I started, and I really had a great time, even of the 30 to 40 minutes or so messing around with this game. It's a narrative-based RPG, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna play it. This is a really niche title, not like crazy popular, but that's okay. Even if I'm recording this and I'm the only one that ends up hearing it, I don't mind. Maybe somebody in my channel in the future will enjoy my narration of this game. I love these kind of choose your own adventure type games of the story and consequence. So I'm going to jump into this and I'm going to basically just keep recording this. And if you end up watching these and enjoying them, I love hearing your feedback and commentary. Otherwise, we're going to jump right in and see how my life continues. If you missed the notes from the first video, definitely check them out. That first video, I'll make sure to link it in the description. I'm trying to role play as close to how I feel like me as a person would play this. It almost feels like this is like a psychological analysis of an individual with these type of games. All right, enough of all of that. Let us continue where I left off with the last video. We are year 3. Glorious rhymes. Mother mostly stays in her chambers now. With each passing day, she grows heavier and her features get rounder. It gets difficult for her to walk, but she still smiles all the time. One day she takes your hand and puts them on her big belly, and you feel a movement deep inside her. You will have another brother or sister soon. Gloria takes you on a walk to the yard now. You explore the yard together under the evening light of the pillar, and she sings you songs and tells you amazing stories. Hey Leroy, do you want to hear a rhyme? I wrote it myself. There's even a bit about you. But don't tell anyone, okay? Writing poems and songs is only for nobles. Mommy hears about it, I'll get flogged. Remember how you got flogged for hitting Stephen? Our judge is my second father. In the past, I had another. Mother says the twins are great. Say we should not fight our fate. Brother loves to fight, jump around. Please don't fall down on the ground. See, I wrote a little rhyme. Please don't tell them it is mine. But today your sister is nowhere to be seen. She promised to take you to the old pond. Sure, there were frogs that lived there, but then she vanished. Servants join in your search. Even Mother leaves her chamber when she hears the commotion. Finally, you find Gloria in the far corner of the garden. She's holding a quill and sheets of paper covered in poetry. Mother becomes angry the moment she sees it. She looks through the poetry and her face grows dark with rage. Gloria is standing before her, wringing her hands and looking for an opportunity to run, but there seems to be no escape. Lydia. What is this nonsense, Gloria? We talked about this. You were told to take care of your little brother. You're absolutely not allowed to entertain yourself with this writing. Gloria. I can decide that for myself, Mom. Lydia. No, you cannot. It has already been decided by the gods. Gloria. He's not a little brother anymore. He doesn't need a nanny. And I need some time alone to think for myself. I'm not hurting anyone. Lydia. You're a commoner and a future wife. It's time you learned how to properly care for children. Had your disgraceful former father kept me in his house, you could have been born a noble. That is not our fate. You're absolutely forbidden from ever spoiling paper and wasting ink again. Mother grabs Gloria firmly by the hand and takes you both into the house. The scribbled sheets fly into the fireplace. Gloria sobs violently. You're a bystander to the scene, unsure of how to act. So we can't complain about our sister because that got locked out based on previous choices. We can offer to write rhymes of her. We can comfort my sister. Or leave the room. I think the reality is, I hold my mother in such high esteem from the previous choices. I don't think I would go against her. So we will retreat to our room without saying a word, kind of being fearful of her retribution as well. You slip out of the sitting room and go back to the playroom before the scene reaches a conclusion. You can still hear Mother yelling and Gloria crying behind your back as you leave. Back in the playroom, you start building a formidable fortress out of wooden blocks to busy yourself. If only you had toy soldiers to storm it. A little later, the playroom door opens. Gloria, you're not mad at me, are you? Shake your head. Can I stay with you for a while? You nod and return to your game. Gloria sits on the floor in a faraway corner of the room. It's some more power. You're full of power. Alright. Four years old now. Year 1122, winter, the coming sacrament. Mother is in her armchair, knitting woolen jackets, pants, and socks for the little one. The baby will need to be kept warm, she says. Father spends less time at home now. Mother says he's very busy with his important job. He's a judge, after all. One day you decide to ask Mother about Stephen and Gloria. How come they're brother and sister to you, but not siblings to each other? Lydia. Well, my dear, I didn't give birth to Stephen, you see. He's the son of another mother, and Gloria is the daughter of another father. Come now, don't knit your brow like that. You'll understand when you're older. How's that even possible? You're all family, are you not? Several days later, Mother calls Stephen and Gloria to the sitting room. You sneak in after them. At first, Mother gets angry and asks you to leave. But then she relents. You're told to sit still, be quiet, and remember every word you hear. Lydia. When you enter the temple, bow to the twins. First to the elder, on the right, and then to the younger, on the left. Stephen, you're nobleman to be. So walk along the side paved with marble, where the benches are. Gloria, you walk along the sharp side. There, you must get down on your knees, each on your own side. Stephen, kiss the sword. Gloria, my daughter, they will strike you with the lash. Don't be afraid of it. Resign yourself to the suffering it brings. It is the blessing of your lot. Rough. Gloria doesn't like the idea of the lash. There's a tense feeling in your chest as well. We're told to remember this. Will the lash strike you too one day? On the next day, they take your brother and sister to the temple. You run towards them when they finally come back. The back of Gloria's dress is soaked with blood. She's hunched a bit, sobbing quietly. Stephen is putting on airs, acting prouder than ever. Nothing else looks different about them. It's like all is the same, and yet everything has changed. Each of them has accepted their lot. Stephen Brante, relationship -1. Now indifferent. Unity -1, disagreement. Brother and sister's sacrament, year 1122. Siblings Stephen and Gloria took their first sacrament at the temple. The newborn's cry. You eye the little bundle in your father's arms of curiosity. Behind the many layers of swaddling clothes is your newborn baby brother. Mother is glowing and smiling with joy. Stephen and Gloria are also here, all excited. Promise yourself you're going to be the best big brother in the world. You'll never hit him. Oh no, the two of you will play together and tease Stephen together and help Mother together and go on so many adventures together. It feels so strange to be an older brother. Just the other day, you were the youngest in the family, but everything is different now. Your parents name your little brother Nathan, and Mother spends day and night by his side. And Nathan cries all the time, day and night. Mother barely gets any sleep. She is so worn out, she starts forgetting things. Like today, for instance. She forgot her knitting in the armchair in the sitting room. You'd better bring it back to her as soon as possible. You run to Mother's bedroom. You miss her smile so much. You walk in without saying hello, give her the knitting, but instead of gratitude, you get an ice-cold, exhausted stare. Nathan is also there, screaming all the time. Lydia. Go away, Leeroy. You're bothering me. She spits these words out through her teeth. Look at the bawling newborn. She can't even get a minute of respite. Enough already. When are you going to stop? I just want some peace and quiet. Mother leaps across the room and starts shaking Nathan with malice in her eyes. His cries get even louder. She looks so tired from her never-ending screams. She seems to be willing within an inch of smashing him against the wall. Somebody has to do something. You're scared of your mother right now, but you fear for Nathan's life much more. So you can call for Father, redirect her anger to yourself. You can snatch Nathan from Mother. Or you can hug her. Calm her down. I don't know, I feel like she used to be so warm. I'd probably try and give her a hug. I'm gonna give her a hug. You walk up to Mother quickly and lock her tight in your embrace. Arms are too short, and the folds of her dress get in the way, but that does not stop you. She shudders at your unexpected touch and tries to free herself. Lydia, let me go. Stop tormenting me. But you only latch onto her even tighter. There's no way you're letting go now. Not even if she screams at you or hits you. No way. You're here now. You will protect her and comfort her. Nathan stops screaming. An odd sobbing sound escapes his little baby mouth, as if he is too tired to scream. Mother accepts your sudden presence now. You feel her relax, her movement become calmer. But there's still no way you get letting go. Not yet. Then you hear a quiet song, your mother's song. She's singing a lullaby to Nathan. He squeaks a little, then starts snoring quietly. Then you calm down as well. Mother is now calmer in your embrace. Nathan is breathing quietly in his sleep. Lydia, now please let me go, my dear. I have to put Nathan to bed. Release Mother, and she puts Nathan back in the crib. After a little pause, she turns to you. Her face is still wary, but there is no sign of anger. She sits down next to you. Lydia, thank you, my son. The twins know I didn't want to hurt you or Nathan. I'm so sorry. Please don't be angry. You did what you needed to. You gave me the strength to work through this. She hugs you tightly. You do the same and press your forehead against her. It smells like home. Your tears finally start to flow, but they are tears of happiness now. She pats you on the head and kisses your forehead. Nathan is sleeping quietly in his crib. It feels so good when things are as they should be. So, relationship +1, sympathy. And unity went up +1 to. That was Nathan's birth. Your younger brother Nathan is born. And what a hellraiser he is. 5 years old now. Boy soldiers. Wake up to father's touch on your shoulder. He is finally back home after a long trip. Robert. Leeroy, today is your special day, the day when you begin your studies. Now teachers will be coming to our home to teach you. You must do everything they say. Be diligent in your studies, and you will grow closer to the nobleman's lot. And since you must remember this day, a present is in order. Lydia, get our little schoolboy dressed. I am taking him to the market district. Stephen wants to come with you too. The father shushes him sternly. This is your day. Your elder brother is hurt to hear this, but stays quiet. An open carriage takes the two of you through the dusky, noisy city streets, a pleasant wind tussling your hair. Your city is called Anazat. That you already know. It is one of the largest cities in the entire empire. There's a big shadow on the street. It comes from the white foliage of an enormous tree that spreads its branches all above the city. Robert, my son, did you know that the silver tree grew from the blood of our God's own disciples? It has been growing here for hundreds of years, right in our city. It cannot be damaged or burned. Not even the clergy knows why. The carriage comes to a halt by a small shop next to a city square. We run there and freeze by the stall in excitement. The shop is packed with dolls and figures and toys. You've never seen so many at once before. Have you chosen your present yet? Father asks. Have. We want the Holy Order set, which includes several figures of the Empire's greatest warriors of all time. Rattle everything you know about the Holy Order. They were the ones who aided the Emperor's own forces in seizing the province of Magra and storming our city. That's how we joined the Empire. Father nods in approval. Robert. Very well. War isn't your lot for now. But maybe those toy soldiers will teach you to think like a general. We will lead them into battle and study military strategy. Go ahead. Take your present. Having said this, Father turns away to examine the books. You run the box of toy soldiers, delirious with excitement. You run two boxes of toys. But there's a fancy-dressed boy in your way. He is about to take the warriors for himself. He elbows you aside and reaches for the box. Anger overcomes you, and you push him from behind. Your opponent falls to the floor. The rich boy screams so loudly everybody in the shop hears it. He hit me! He hit me! A tall tower of a man looms over you. It's the boy's father. But then you feel your own father's hand on your shoulder. Robert, what happened? Press against father, your mind more at ease now. He will protect you. Yes, you shoved the boy to the floor in front of everyone, but he tried to take your present for himself. Father turns you around to face him when he hears these words. Robert, is this true, Leeroy? Did you strike the son of a nobleman? Deny your guilt. Tell him the truth. Tell father you paid the impudent boy in kind. Admit your guilt. Step between adults and say that it was all your fault. Yeah, sounds like what I would do. That or tell him the truth. Yeah, admit my guilt. Recall mother's words. If you hurt a noble, you must be punished. There is no use trying to lie to escape it. Say it was all your fault. You pushed the other boy to the floor because you wanted to get your present before him. Father nods to you, relieved to hear it. And the enraged nobleman grabs you by the hand and drags you out the street. The law is the law, and your punishment is due. He leads you and the nobleman's son out the shop. You're told to bow to him and show humility. Bad feeling sends a shiver down your spine. With a satisfied grin on his face, the boy swings his arm and slaps you on the cheek. He strikes you again and again. Father stays quiet all the while, but as you ride home after the punishment is over, he shows you a rectangular package. Robert, I am proud to see you living by your lot. Common birth leads to a life of humility, and you told the truth and accepted your punishment like a man. This present is yours, son, my son. Inside the little box with the tin soldiers of the holy is a little box of the tin soldiers the holy order inside. They're your reward for humility. Grateful. Year 1124, summer, the family dinner. Today, Father ordered the dinner table to be brought out into the yard. For the first time in months, he's home, outside of the confines of his always locked study. He spent the entire day playing with Nathan and you, discussing various matters of Stephen, now an adolescent, and walking in the garden, and now a dinner under open sky. Your entire family gathers together with Father at the head of the table, smiling. He asks each of you about your studies. Nathan climbs up on his knees and recites a counting rhyme in a funny, sing-song voice. Stephen mentions that his fencing teacher praised his accomplishments. He rises from the table together with Father to show his skill in a practice duel. Next comes Gloria's turn. She stands on her chair and recites a lengthy prayer by heart. Mother showers your sister with praise. Father chuckles quietly, hiding a smile in his mustache. When your turn comes, you recite all the ranks in the Legion, from common soldier to high commander. Stephen listens to you with a skeptical look on his face. Night slowly falls, but the servants ensure that the yard is well illuminated. You don't feel cold in the dust tonight. It feels good yet so important. All of you are finally together, sitting at the same table. No fighting, just smiles, no arguing, just pleasant small talk. Then a servant approaches Father with a letter in his hand. He reads in the dim light, and each line gradually washes the smile off Father's face until only a stone-cold mask remains. Mother looks at Father with an unspoken question in her eyes. Robert, Gregor Brante is coming back to Anizot. He is the head of our family. My father. Grandfather's return. Grandfather Gregor Brante returned to the family home from the capital. The intrusion. Ever since the news of grandfather's impending arrival, there has not been a single day when a house has not been cleaned or decorated. Your parents anxiously make sure everything is in order. They tell you to wash your face and hands after walks and scold you for leaving books on the floor. They tell Gloria she will be flogged if she's even ever seen hiding in the attic. They make Stephen stay in his room. Even baby Nathan gets in trouble. Everyone is on edge. Then one day, grandfather arrives. Here's a grim day. So hot, your neck is sticky with sweat. Father, mother, Stephen, Gloria, you, and Nathan. The entire Brante family stands on the porch in front of the house. The house servants lined up behind you. The carriage arrives, and out steps a tall, gaunt old man with a heavy walking stick and a heavier gaze. You cringe instinctively. Robert, good health to you, Father. Children, greet your grandfather as you have been taught. Gregor, still trying to look like a real nobleman, are you? You can't fool me, Robert. I was the first of the Brante family to be ennobled by the mantle, and I am the only one who remembers how to bear this burden properly. Robert, I live honorably by my lot. Gregor, your marriage to that lowborn wench cut us off from ever becoming nobles of the sword. My progeny could have been born bearing noble blood. Robert, father, I beg you, this is not the place. Grandfather eyes him with scorn and walks into the house, the entire family following close behind him. Gregor, I've been away far too long. This entire house is a mess. This is an insult. How can you live in such a pigsty, Robert? The servants have grown far too lazy, all thanks to your commoner of a wife. I warned you, did I not? And you did as you saw fit. And the children? What do they know of tradition or honor? Robert, they are being raised in a virtuous family, father. Gregor, and now you're speaking like a lowborn who's content to live in humility. Twins willing, now that I am here, this will not happen again. I am taking your oldest son to the capital. I see you cannot provide Stephen with a proper education, so I will correct your mistakes. Your brother's fate has been decided just like that. Father does not object. He orders the servants to prepare Stephen for the journey. Stephen freezes in place, glancing at grandfather and father again and again. The latter puts a hand on his shoulder reassuringly. Grandfather's lips are a tight line, white with contempt. The house is examined, room after room. Everything grandfather sees is showered with scorn. He scoffs at the crease on a blanket in Nathan's crib in mother's bedroom. He mocks Gloria's knitting in her room. The door to your room is next. Gregor, what is this, Robert? Tin soldiers in your younger son's room? He was born a commoner. I won't have him daydreaming of battle. Grandfather seizes the box containing the tin warriors of the Holy Order. Your father stays silent. Anger and fear boils over. This is your big present from the first day of your studies. It means so much to you. But what if he's right? What if you need to prove your right to command the toy soldiers first? Grandfather shakes his head in disapproval and shoves the toy box into the roaring fireplace. If you wait too long, they will melt in the flames. So watch them melt helplessly is locked out. Rescue your tin warriors is locked out. So you can burst into tears. Or strike grandfather. Driven mad by anger and injustice, you kick grandfather in the leg. Oh man, it looks like it's going to kill you. He's going to kill you. And I don't know about these giving away the consequences. That's kind of gnarly. Oh. Wow. It's crazy. I mean, it gives you determination and perception. Kind of nuts that you die. Yeah, I don't think I've got the balls to stand up to your grandfather, though. He's an intimidating guy. I wish I could rescue my tin warriors, but I don't have that determination. Ugh, good lord. That's really tough. Very interesting, these decisions. Kind of shows you. But you gotta have a high perception for this one. A determination. Yeah. My poor toys. I mean, I'm 4 years old, let's be honest. I don't think I'd go nuts with my grandfather at 4. Watch your beloved present, the token of father's love and care, burn before your very eyes. The tin melts, the unpleasant smell of burning paint fills the air. For a moment, you cannot breathe. You see no reason to maintain your composure. The tears start flowing, burning your cheeks and staining your shirt. You hide your face in your hands, and then you hear grandfather's voice dripping with disdain. So the boy is a weakling, just like his mother. Fall. 1124 Fall, the master of the house. Soon grandfather leaves. Your older brother Stephen goes with him. From that day on, father's hired teachers tend to you alone. They bore you with monotonous lectures on writing, counting, and the way of life in the blessed Arcanian Empire. You often distract yourself from the instruction by playing with your younger brother Nathan. Your home grows quiet without your elder brother, too quiet. Weeks later, your family receives a letter from Stephen. Grandfather has sent him to a boarding school for nobles. He is now studying hard in preparation for his service as a nobleman. Stephen. The rules here are way too strict. You can't even sneeze without the teacher's permission. But I've been studying with my peers. We're learning how to live as nobles in a noble society. We're also learning the art of swords play. That's my favorite part. With Stephen now at the boarding school, grandfather arrives once more, this time to live in your home. The only good thing that is he often has urgent business in Eterna, capital of the Empire, and has to travel there. One day he asks mother where he lived before. In Eterna, she says, but now his place is here. Each time grandfather returns, he gives the servants new orders. Your home is now always busy with repairs. The servants are redecorating grandfather's chambers, including his library and sitting room. Sometimes father tries to gently talk him out of this. Why subject the house to constant reconstruction? Grandfather's answer is always the same. Gregor, the home is mine, and I will live here as befits a man of the nobility. An illustrious guest. Someday, grandfather stays home, and on those days, you try your best to stay out of his sight. There's no way you can avoid family breakfast. The food is there, but you cannot bring yourself to eat it. Mother's eyes are red and swollen. She's been crying all night again. Grandfather sits at the head of the table where nobody used to sit before. Gregor. Robert, it is high time your youngest son underwent their sacraments. Sir Brante, please, let them live free of the lot for a while longer. They are but... Gregor, shut your mouth. Robert, that wife of yours is impertinent enough to interrupt me. If this ever happens again, she'll be eating her gruel. The servants in the kitchen where she belongs. It is time you consider a real marriage, Robert. One to a woman of proper station. Gloria drops her fork. Grandfather shoots her a scathing look. A tear rolls down mother's cheek. Father does not look away from the plate, his hands clenched into fists. Gregor. Baroness El Lodar is one such woman. She's a comely widow and a fine match. She's suing for inheritance right now and could use proper support and a husband. You can keep your lowborn lady around if you like. Servant, mistress, I don't care. Robert, I will not do that, father. Gregor, I am the head of this family, and the family's standings took a severe blow after you married that commoner. It's unthinkable. How could you give up the memory of beautiful Amalia L. Bourne for this lovely woman and that bastard child of hers? But now you have a chance to set things right. Don't disappoint me. Father nods curtly, trying not to look into mother's direction. Robert. Father, I wish to see Stephen. Gregor. If I find your conduct and the Baroness's presence satisfactory enough, then you may see him. He's coming for a visit tomorrow. Be prepared. Grandfather wipes his mouth with his napkin, throws it onto the plate, and leaves. Mother's lips move silently. Nobody says a word. Then father stands up and orders you and the other children back to your rooms. You need to speak to mother in private. Father comes to your room before bedtime. He sits on the edge of the bed and adjusts a crease on the woolen blanket. He distances himself from you after Stephen's departure, so you're not used to such attention from him. In the candlelight, you can see his face in the dark. There's a sour expression on it. Robert. My son, Baroness Emma L. Lodar will be visiting us tomorrow. Please be polite and treat her with respect. Nathan will do as you do. I want this dinner to be as immaculate as possible. Don't let me down. On the next day, Mother starts dressing you and Nathan for the coming dinner. You see red all around her eyes. She's been crying, and for a long time. It hurts just to look at her. Nathan starts whining quietly. You and Nathan are dressed in new doublets. Your tousled hair brushed into shape. Gloria is told to stay in her room. Father appears wearing his best suit. Mother is in a humble brown dress, looking pale. Grandfather has an uncharacteristically contented look about him. You hear the sound of wheels and hooves against the cobbles in the yard. Then a pair of dainty heels come clacking. Antechamber is completely quiet and still. Being grandfather's observant eyes, the door opens. You see your guest, a beautiful, dark-haired woman in a dress of elegant deep blue. Father takes the hand of Lady Lodar and kisses it, showing her in compliments. Grandfather's face is beaming in her presence. No one ever bothers to introduce Mother. Gregor. Baroness, allow me to introduce you Robert's son, Leeroy and Nathan Brante. Frankly, it's his eldest son, Stefan, who deserves the most attention, but currently he's studying in Terna with other young noblemen like himself. It is my hope that his younger sons will also make me proud one day. Grandfather eyes you with a probing look. How will you act in front of the Baroness? Will you accept her here next to your mother, your father's rightful wife? So you can greet the Baroness politely. You approach Baroness Eldalar and kiss her hand, following Father's example. You can walk away with Mother. Oh, yeah. Maintain your composure. Greet Lady Eldalar with restraint and avoid getting too involved in the event. Demand that Mother be introduced. Whew. Yeah. Hate to say it. I like all the training, stepping in line at that age. Sorry, Mom. But that's the way it is. Greet the Baroness politely. Follow Father's example and kiss the Baroness's fingers gently. Her laughter fills the antechamber, ringing like chimes. Gallantly offered to lead her to the sitting room. Lady Lodar graciously agrees. Behind your back, you can hear her mother sobbing. Grandfather and Baroness Lodar engage in small talk over dinner. She tells him of the woes of litigation over her late husband's inheritance, and he advises her like the judge he is. Father is mostly silent, only getting in a word or two. You do your absolute best to behave yourself. After the chorus farewell to Lady Lodar, Father quietly thanks you for your model behavior. The morning after he leaves for Eterna with Grandfather to visit Stephen. Mother spends almost an entire day in her bedroom. You cannot bring yourself to speak to her. Father returns from the capital in a quiet rage. You overhear your parents talking. Apparently, Grandfather has already poisoned Stephen's mind against him, and he greeted Father with cold hostility. The name of Baroness Lodar is never mentioned in the house again. I'm 7 years old. In a little independence. The kaleidoscope. Father now checks on your studies often and nitpicks you for sitting or eating or speaking in an incorrect fashion. Once he becomes so annoyed, he says that he wishes Stephen had been the one to stay home instead of you. Never expected to hear these words from your father, of all people. Grandfather's trip to the capital took longer than expected. It feels lighter around the house without his presence. You allow yourself a little change of scenery. Instead of your room, you now busy yourself with reading and calculations in the sitting room across from the open door to the yard. Gloria has joined you today. She's already helped your progress through several complex passages in the book. Right now, she seems preoccupied with a strange tube. Aren't you hurt by the way grandfather treats you? Ask. Gloria just shrugs. Gloria. Grandfather always says they should get rid of me. I'm used to it now. He hurts you a lot worse because you're closer to him. I just have to stay out of his way, that's it. Shows you the strange tube she's been holding all day. Look, it's a kaleidoscope. Got it as a gift. Want to see inside? Excited by the idea, you close the book and peer into the tiny hole on one end of the tube. Your eye sees a multitude of intricate patterns. Each turn of the tube reveals neat webs of interwoven colors. They mesmerize you. The kaleidoscope turns the fire burning in the fireplace into a cavalry made of flames. You are riding at the front of the fiery horseman, ready to face the enemy. Grandfather's face emerges from the intersecting lines, and you swing the kaleidoscope like a sword, cutting it in half. Now you look at the blue sky through the window. Patterns are unending, secretive and calm and peaceful, just like Father's smile before Grandfather's invasion. The deep blue gives way to a scattering of gold radiating gentle warmth, like Mother's arms. Its fleeting beauty too soon gives way to a hypnotic new pattern. Again and again, you see your family and their interconnecting figures as they come together and break apart. In the middle of this golden glow, you see Gloria's green eyes gazing at you observantly. Your sister left you long ago. The books are abandoned. Time slips away unchecked, but you're still busy peering into the kaleidoscope. Order emerges from your chaos before your eyes again and again, but you cannot preserve it no matter how you try. You are caught in an inner conflict. There is so much that can be done with this kaleidoscope. Should you take it apart, or ask Gloria how it works, or keep enjoying the patterns it shows you? But you still have lessons to do today. To take it apart, you start taking the toy apart and learn the secrets of the never-ending patterns. You're playing the kaleidoscope as visions of warriors bathing glory reveal themselves before you. Return to your studies. Choose to finish your studies first and share discoveries with Gloria later. How do gotta get some of that? Gotta get those studies done eventually. Procrastinated enough, just kind of how I tend to do. But eventually, work's gotta get done. Put the kaleidoscope away and return to studying your books. There's so much you have to discuss with Gloria, you cannot help but wonder, what things did she see there? But first, your lessons. Father walks in, he sees you hard at work over the book. He chuckles in approval, spots a kaleidoscope on the table next to you. He puts the toy to his eye, then freezes still for a moment. It takes him an effort to put it back down. Then he praises you for being diligent and leaves. Today's section of the book is finished. You take the toy upstairs to your sister's room. Tell her what you saw in it. Gloria smiles, knowing what you felt. Gloria, I once saw a ballroom full of dancers. I watched it for an entire hour. Oops. I missed it. My hands even got sore. You spend a long time with your sister discussing the kaleidoscope figure. You feel a strong connection to her. The toy has brought you closer together, made you interconnected, just like the lines and figures in its colorful eyes. Sweet temptation. Grandfather's visits are no longer a cause for fear and panic in the house. It's become something you are used to, something nagging yet not unordinary. like a splinter or a stain on your trousers. The tension still remains, however. Sir Gregor's disdain for everyone in the house is so palpable it almost stings for real. The lesson of the tutor are done for today. You're walking down the stairs when you spot Gloria peeping into the sitting room through a slightly open door. Sneak up on your sister and tap her slightly on the shoulder. She is startled. Gloria. Oh, it's you, Leeroy. Look. Sir Gregor's eating something. Grandfather's sitting on the sofa, flipping through a book with one hand and reaching for a glass bowl with another now and then. At the bowl you see candied fruit, a sweet confectionery forbidden to the common estate, like all sweet things. Yet grandfather's face shows no pleasure as he keeps consuming the high-born treat. The clock strikes 3. Grandfather rises from his seat, puts away the bowl on a shelf, and leaves for the yard. He always takes a walk in the city at this time. Gloria nudges you with her elbow and looks at the candy bowl when you look at her. The first emotion you feel is fear, but next comes curiosity, and it is stronger. Stephen used to boast that candied fruit tastes incredible. Now you have a perfectly opportunity to try it. You try candied fruit first. The sugar starts to melt as soon as you put it in your tongue. It is so sweet. You have never eaten anything as good as this. Take the whole bowl off the shelf and give it to your sister. She takes the fruit and brings it to her mouth carefully like a rare treasure. There's a thumping on the stairs. Footsteps accompanied by the knocking of a walking stick. You have no idea why, but grandfather is back. You quickly hide behind a sofa and pull Gloria after you, but she is frozen in place with the bowl in her hands. The door opens. Grandfather, a menacing figure, advances on Gloria. His hands seize her arm. Gregor, you squalid, ungrateful, low-born child. How dare you bite the hand that feeds you? You and your trollopod of a mother would be sleeping in a ditch if it weren't for my spineless son. Sweet and pleasant thing in life are for the noble's estate, not for the likes of you. Did you forget your lot? His hand swings and hits Gloria on the cheek. She falls to the floor right next to where you are hidden. Her fingers glisten with the warm, melted sugar that brought you here. Grandfather advances again, his walking stick ready. But then he sees you huddling behind an armchair. Gloria. Please don't hurt him, Sir Brante. This is all my fault. He tried to stop me. You can already see the bruise on Gloria's cheek. It's only the beginning of her punishment. Gloria was caught red-handed, unlike you. You can still avoid your punishment. Gregor. What is it then? Milksop? Did you try the sugar too? Or were you trying to stop this piece of filth like she says? Tell the truth, you did eat the candied fruit of your sister. You convinced grandfather that you were trying to stop Gloria. Such an honest little guy. Hey. But my willpower is failing me. Tell the truth. Gotta learn my lessons. Stand up and tell the truth, even though it takes you an effort to do it. You actually ate a candied fruit, but Gloria only touched it. You hope this will help your sister avoid punishment. You're quickly proven wrong. Grandfather's face is red with rage. He strikes you both with his walking stick, blow for blow. He keeps hitting you until he grows tired. Then he leaves you where you are. Soon enough, Mother comes in to find two of you on the floor, too afraid to move. She shakes her head in disappointment. You're badly hurt and covered in bruises, but she still forces you to kneel and recite the precepts of the lots, how important it is to follow them. Then you stand before father and grandfather and swear never to take things that do not belong to you again. Sacraments. Father and mother have been focused on Nathan and you since early morning. Instead of breakfast, you are told to say your prayers, wash your hands and faces, and get dressed in plain white shirts. Today is the day of the sacraments. Nathan. Mother, I want to go play in the yard. Lydia. No playing today. You and Leeroy are big boys now. It is time for you both to have your first sacrament. No one can live without a lot. Nathan. I don't want a lot. Robert. Be quiet and listen. You were born commoners, so you must accept the lowborn lot before the twins. Grow up, you will get a chance to earn a noble lot. Father and mother take you to the carriage. Nathan is hungry. He starts whining. Grandfather is the last to get in the carriage. His eyes are on you and your brother, looking for every fault. Soon the carriage is moving along the streets of Anizor. Slowly and solemnly. One more turn, and you see the colossal white building marked by two massive pillars. For the first time in your life, you are to enter the Church of the Twin Gods. Enter the gate and walk under the splendorous dome of the church. The church hall is divided into two halves. They're drastically different from one another. The floor on one side is rough and jagged and covered in dried brown spots, while the floor on the other side is made of smooth marble. Commoners kneel on the jagged floor, and the well-dressed nobles and their families sit on pews. Father and grandfather leave you to sit on one of the noble pews. Mother walks to the rough stone on a commoner's side and gets down on her knees. You see her wince in pain, for the lowborn estate shall suffer in the house of the faith. The church acolytes surround you and lead you to the altar, where you and other children will take your sacraments this day. Where you stands a tall priest dressed in black, with a sword in one hand and a hefty whip on the other. Nathan's whining grows louder. He dislikes this place. He is scared. Remain quiet, but your stomach roils in uneasy anticipation. The first child to take the sacrament is a jaunty little boy from a family of nobles. The priest extends the sword before him and recites the words of his lot. From this day forth, he will fight and rule, and pursue the arts, his mind now forever free from the throes of suffering, for he now belongs to the noble lot. The boy proudly touches the flat of the blade with his lips. Nathan is next to receive the sacrament. He suddenly snaps out of his fearful trance and tries to break free. But the acolytes pull him towards the altar and throw him on the jagged floor on the lowborn side. Sharp edges bite into Nathan's knees as he lands, spraying drops of red around him. Nathan. I don't wanna. Leeroy, why do they want to whip me? What did I do? Try to break free and run to Nathan's side. You want to give him courage and protect him. The acolyte's grip on you is too firm. You feel utterly helpless. Your little brother has to face the world all by himself. He starts reciting the words of the lot as he swings the lash over Nathan's shoulder. Day forth, Nathan, thou shalt endure and work and suffer. Thou shalt be ardent in the labor and humble in obedience to the rulers. And now cometh thy first true suffering, which thou must accept with gratitude. Lash cracks, it strikes his right shoulder, strikes his left shoulder. Blows are so powerful that Nathan falls to the floor. The priest tells him to rise. He has received his lot. Nathan gets on his feet and drags himself towards mother, his knees torn and bloodied, his spirit broken. It's your turn. Your feet will not move. You can barely muster enough strength to walk to the altar. Get down on your knees and feel the sharp stones below. So sharp your clothing cannot protect you. Your skin begins to burn. Acolytes forces your head down and you feel the lash begin being drawn above you, ready to strike. These priest's words are for you. This is thy sacrament. Thou shalt work, endure, and suffer. Thou art about to receive thy first true suffering by the sacred lash. Dost thou accept thy lot? Whoa. You can accept it. You humbly accept the commoner's lot. Raise your head. Raise your head defiantly and stand up. Catch the lash. Kiss the sword. Ha ha ha. Crazy. I guess if you had more willpower, you could do that. So it presents how attentive you are to other people in the world around you. You can learn, it affects your frame of mind and it's grow up. Huh. Determination is your perseverance and strength of character, your ability to get your way. It affects your frame of mind and the skills you have when you grow up. Interesting. The willpower and your inner strength and readiness for action. Ugh. I just don't think I would catch it at that age and that state. That's rough. You wish you could like, hey, just go kiss the sword. Like, this being commoner sucks. Moment before the lash reaches you, stretches out into eternity. Sounds approaches you slowly as it slices through the air. The whip cracks, it strikes you on the right shoulder. Lash is so heavy it bends your back and forces you to the floor. Lash cracks again and hits you on the left shoulder. There's blood running down your back. Rise now, commoner, the priest tells you. You stand. Everything looks blurry. You can barely walk on the sharp floor. Mother takes your hand and leads you away from the altar. There is agony, but there's also unfathomable tranquility. This is right. This is what you deserve. It's how it should be. This is the way of the world and its laws. This day forth, you will accept all suffering in life in humility and patience, for you are a commoner. You have taken your first sacrament and received the commoner's lot. Year 1125, childhood's end. The mark left on by your sacrament takes a long, long time to heal. Mother says it's a reminder of your lot, suffering and sufferance, pain and patience. Gloria shows you the mark of the lash on her shoulder one day. It will never disappear. You're a commoner now. This is a lot you were born into. The Father keeps telling you to study hard so you may yet learn a different lot and become noble of the mantle. Call the past of warm sadness. Stephen still lived with you. When he wrote to you for a time shortly after he left, now he thinks it's beneath him to write to the commoners in his family. Mother didn't lock herself in the bedroom as often back then. This changed shortly before Nathan was born. But most importantly, you missed the time before the terrifying figure of your grandfather was constantly looming over you. You learned the true power of the lot only after the head of the family arrival. Grandfather's eyes, no commoner deserves to be treated with kindness. Is this just him, or is it the way of the entire world? The very thought makes you queasy. You're older now, and what's more, you are an elder brother now. Learn how to care about someone else, how to teach and protect. Soon you are a small boy no longer. Days pass, play gradually gives way to laborious study. Now your choices will decide your place in the bizarre and ruthless world of adulthood. Your childhood years are over. End of chapter 1, childhood. Personal qualities that you have accumulated in childhood, they will convert into adult qualities at the end of chapter 2, adolescence. Inner strength and number of lesser deaths that you have experienced. These qualities will stay with you for your entire life. End of chapter 1. All right, I think that's a perfect time to stop this recording. End of chapter 1. I think in the next recording, we shall see about doing chapter 2 and finishing adolescence before we move on youth. Again, hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, go ahead and drop a like, and I will be coming back with the next one soon. This is Leeroy with Leeroy Gaming, and I will see you in the next video.